If you're looking for a mentor, this video will show you how to find the right one, and if you want to be a better mentor, this video will show you how. Welcome to 8 unedited minutes about mentoring. We're here with George Vukotich, founder of FinTank. Thank you so much for being here, George.
Hey, Mark, good to be here. Thank you.
I would love to just jump right in. On our last conversation, we talked about when people ask for mentoring help, how they ask for the wrong things, and how it's, especially with what you're doing with FinTank in the financial area, it's never about the funding. It's about something else. Can you talk a little more to that?
Well, I think it's a good point, and people usually do come to you when they need help, and in particular for funding. But I think it's more about building an overall relationship than just asking somebody for one piece of information or for one bit of help. And I think it's human nature, the better you know somebody, the more you know about them, where they're from, what they're trying to accomplish, the better able you'll be to help them. So I think in any relationship, it's like, what do you want to get out of the overall relationship? Yeah. What are the goals, the objectives? And then talk to the person who might be your mentor and say, hey, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. What's your experience in this area? Can you help me out? And then see where it goes from there. I think too often people look at a one-off kind of process or approach, but it's really got to be an ongoing relationship where people get to know each other, the facts, the issues, and build on that.
Well, how about before that can happen, before there's something to build, when people are initially seeking mentorship, what are one or two things pieces of advice you'd give them? Definitely do this or definitely don't do this.
Well, I think for a lot of people, particularly in the startup world, they should ask themselves, just because they have a good idea, does anybody else think it's a good idea? And more importantly, will anybody else pay for whatever they're creating? A simple tool I tell everybody to work with is a tool called a business model canvas. It's a 9-box tool, and I tell everybody it's a free tool off the internet, and the business model canvas. And if you go through that as an exercise, it'll ask you a number of questions. And if you can answer those questions, then I think you're prepared to present to somebody else what you have.
So it sounds like it's preparing yourself first, and just knowing what do you even want to ask about in the first place, which is take 2 steps back. What do I need to ask? What are my problems? And then ask, how do I find a mentor? Would that be right?
Yeah, exactly it. Yeah, everybody's always focused on, oh, I've got an opportunity to meet, like this star or this person's raised $100 million, I want to meet with them. They get that chance, then they're like, I need to raise money. Well, that person can't help you if that's your answer. But if you've stepped back and you know a little bit about what your goals, objectives are, do a little research on that person as well to see how they've been successful, what took them to where they are today, and then ask them those questions. And how does that relate to where you are?
How do you make that a first outreach?
You just got to do it. Find something that's in common. It could be anything from where did the person go to school or go to LinkedIn. Do they know anybody that you know? Find that little piece of information, and it doesn't have to be business related. Okay. Just something to connect with somebody on, and then you start building a relationship from there. Just to digress for a second, my son just graduated from college.
Congratulations.
He's looking, yeah, thank you. So I'm saving money. But on the other side, he's looking for a job, and he just keeps applying for jobs on the internet. And I'm like, not what you want to do. Find somebody. What's the companies you want to work for? What's the industry you want to work for? And then try to approach people that are where you want to be.
I love that. And why have you, because you've done a few incubators and now FinTank, a lot of people think when they're trying to find a mentor, why would this person even talk to me? Can you shed a little light on why people mentor people?
Well, I think for a few reasons, and I think you always need to be aware of what I call the kooks, the con artists and the criminals, and you want to wipe them off the table. But once you get to people that are serious, I think there's people that have been successful and truly want to help others. I know you feel this way, and I do too. Sometimes when you help somebody and you see that level of success, you feel good about it, and it helps you learn. I think you've often heard that sometimes the best way to learn is to teach or to work with other people. And I think that's a great example. So I think there are a lot of people that are sincere about helping and want to help others, and it makes them better as well. But you got to be careful and, again, build a relationship and watch out for the kooks, the con artists, and the criminal, because there are people that will waste your time or will just want to sell you something and not really want to help you. So you need to weed through some of that.
Any tips to weeding through those?
I think talk to people, see what their background is. If in your first meeting they're like, hey, I want to help you, but I need you to buy this legal policy or this insurance policy, that's probably a red flag. But if you can talk to them and you're comfortable with them in the relationship, okay, then I think you could build on it from there. So I think the red flag would be if somebody's trying to sell you something fairly quickly, it's probably not where you want to go. It's have the conversation and ask the questions and then see if they can help you get to where you want to go.
And once you get those 3 wiped off the table, any other tips or tripwires to avoid?
No, I just think look at the relationship and what you want. Be prepared. So if you're going to meet with somebody, particularly somebody who's busy, successful and busy, they don't have a lot of time. So when you get into the meeting, be ready to go. Have your questions set, look at what you're trying to get out of it, and hit it up directly. If you spend a lot of time talking about the weather or something else, you've killed your half hour, whatever that person has, and you never really get to the point. So go in, shake hands. Hi, how are you doing? Here's a challenge I have currently this week. Can you help me out? Here's what I've tried. Here's what seems like it's working, not working. Any thoughts, ideas, or suggestions you would have?
Any tips for the mentors? Because from what I've seen, mentors can help nudge. They could not do anything and just take what you get, a 20-minute conversation about the weather, or some of them are successful. I know some people, they've had to point out, mentors, they're responsible for some things too here. It's not just sit down and talk. What's one or two things the mentors need to know that they need to do?
It's a good point, and I would highly encourage mentors, because again, a lot of people just want to do it and they'll offer their time, but it's more than just your time. It's the knowledge and insights. So if the mentee or protege doesn't come in and ask you specifically for something, you as a mentor should ask, what are you hoping to get out of this meeting today? What are you hoping to get out of our relationship? And try to help that individual clearly articulate what it is they're looking for. You've heard that term SMART goals. Specific, measurable, timely, all those could be. Have that plan worked out, so when you get into that meeting, ask the person, what are you trying to accomplish? How do you plan to get there? How can I help you? Is another thing that a mentor can always ask. What is it you're looking from me, or for this to be a great relationship? How can I best help you?
And with everything that people can do in mentoring, why should people be looking for mentors?
Well, I think it's an easy way to success, or easier way to success. We talked about the incubators and hubs and accelerator programs, and all of those are about building relationships and connecting with mentors. The idea being that there's knowledge out there, but how do you find it? And having mentoring relationships is a good way to do that. Bring people together, whether it's through a meetup group or through a LinkedIn event. How do you bring people together?
Talk more about that, because I know we've done a mastermind group in your office and you do a lot of events. How can events help you create mentoring experiences?
Well, I think a big part of it's understanding the topic, and usually people come to an event because they have an interest in the topic.
Okay.
So you already have something to start with, a common interest, whether it's learning about blockchain technology or virtual reality. People are there because they have an interest. And then from there, it's trying to find out what are people trying to do with it. The more I talk to you about your interest in improv or whatever your area of interest is, then the better I understand. And I learn things from you. I can share some of the things I'm trying or looking for, and you might be able to help me that way. So I think having a group together, and then people can piggyback off of those ideas. I might say, I looked at a program at place X, Y, and Z, and like, I went through that program, but I also looked at this other program, and what I found unique about these two were this and that, and then it gives you a chance to compare and make a difference.
So you're saying the events give you the initial focus because you're all there for blockchain, so you can start a conversation easier.
Yes.
To close out, what is your favorite part about mentoring?
My favorite part about mentoring?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, in some cases I'm a mentor, in other cases I'm still a mentee. I'm always learning myself. But no, for me, I got to tell you, it's working, I'll digress a little. It's working with our accelerator model. We have an accelerator model at FinTank where we work with companies over the course of a year. So it's not like one of these 90-day wonder programs. It's over the course of a year. And to me, we've got a few companies that are getting to the end of their first year. It's seeing how they've progressed, their ups and downs and challenges over the last year, and where they've got to today, and it's making a difference. And you can see how they've grown, and it makes me feel good that I've been part of their growth. And we've actually just got a company that landed a big contract for a couple $1 million. And I don't get that money, but I'm happy for them, and I feel I was part of making those introductions, getting them connected, and so I think that's a big part of it.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for your time, George. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Take care.